Updating a SKAARHOJ controller is really easy. You need the Firmware Updater application from SKAARHOJ, and then you need a USB cable to your controller. So now I'm gonna plug the USB cable into the back of the controller in the USB plug, and you'll see in the Firmware Updater app the USB port is instantly found. All you need to do now is press the button, check for updates, and in case the newest software is already installed, you'll see this message. If we open the configuration, we'll immediately go to the online configuration. Let's assume that we saved this configuration as a user configuration and made some changes. We can now go back to the firmware application, check for updates, and we'll see the firmware file is being generated on the server. After a short while, the firmware file will be downloaded and installed on your controller with the changes you just made online. You now see the controller reboots, and you have updated your controller easily with the SKAARHOJ Firmware Updater. In case you want to go back to previous firmwares you have used or generated, you go to the firmware overview, and on this page you'll see a download link for each firmware and the configuration that was used to generate the firmware. So you just press the link and the file will be downloaded to your computer. Now this file can be installed using the Firmware Update application. So you basically press the update using File, then you select the file from wherever you downloaded it, and then you open. The file will be uploaded and written to your device. This is also a great way to make backups of firmwares that are very important to you to always be able to revert back to by simply downloading them and keeping it in store locally. There are a few things that you should know about updating firmwares. You may need to recycle the power or to power cycle the device. So you take the plug out, you wait for 10 seconds and plug it in again. I didn't wait for 10 seconds here, but it works. In this case, this advice is in case the update process for some reason chokes up the controller when it reboots by a soft reset, you may need to power cycle. And that's kind of general wisdom that you do this kind of reset on a controller. There's another important step when you have updated a firmware, and that is you may need to clear the presets in the device. Let's assume this has been loaded with a different firmware using different device cores and settings. Now we have put a new firmware on it, and old information is stored in the internal memory in this one. There's a high probability that that's the case. In particular, that will be the case if you have used the web interface internally in the device to set IP addresses. So what you may need to do, and should definitely know as a way to bug fix your controller in case you have weird behavior, is you may need to open the serial monitor and press the Clear Presets button. If you do that, you are absolutely sure that the internal memory is flushed of all old configuration and you start on afresh.